Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Royals on the Road. We are on episode number 23, and here we have a few super royals with us today. We have Vedant here and Rishikesh, and we have a very special guest here who is a Sri Lankan fan, Dulit. So, welcome guys. How are you all doing?
Great, bro. What about you? How are you?
All good, all good. Like super entertaining stuff going on. I mean, lots and lots of games, lots of things to discuss, and there's a lot of good things and lots of things to be taken into consideration. I mean, starting from the new year, starting on a very good note for Indian fans when India they took on Sri Lanka in the first T20 on the 3rd of Jan, and since then things have been going in the right direction. I mean, I wouldn't say in front of a Sri Lankan fan, of course, but a lot of positives to be taken for that also. So, Dulit, we'll start with you only. So, considering you are a Sri Lankan fan, so what positives have you been taking from from this particular T20 and ODI series? Because we have seen, Sri Lanka in the past struggling with the good like competitive scores, like getting into the game or just letting it go one sided at one point. But this time we saw a little bit upgrade version of Sri Lankan team, and you can say apart from that third ODI or the second ODI, which there was a where they got all out in double digits. But apart from that, I saw a very competitive Sri Lankan side where they tried to show their dominance coming in back into the game, and Dasun Shanaka uh, playing an explosive knock and showing why he's the best, having the best average against India. So, what are your thoughts on your Sri Lankan national team?
Yeah, Jahad, pleasure being here with the Super Royals and thank you for the invitation. Yeah, regarding the last concluded series, it was a good, so many positive things that, that playing in India against India always a tough task. That recent two matches versus not top ranked New Zealand team, they will struggle despite the Bristol magnificent inning that match also they were struggling with the batting department. So they have been superb in their own conditions and the modern game of cricket. I think this is not just the playing 11's game. It's about the staff and also the crowd. The expectations were amazing in India. That thousands of expectations in front of those stands playing is in the pressure is we can't just imagine. So the one who got in the center only know the pressure. So that's not an excuse, and you have to have tactics and you have to be smart in the modern game. And despite that, the format, the T20 and ODIs, you have to be adjust. So that part, I think Sri Lanka is just little behind. But other than that, uh, comparing the previous edition in Sri Lankan tour of India, now they have been lot more developed and they are gaining experience. This new team developing under Shanaka, and he has been magnificent throughout the years, couple of years, and I think they were on the track and they have a good learning point from this defeat. So that's how the outcomes, and I hope they will be doing in well in the World Cup.
Right. I mean, Asia Cup champions after all, where that
Yeah,
Paul had shown where Sri Lanka had 0% chances of winning the Asia Cup, and they did it. So, of course, how like slowly and steadily they are coming up and they are going in that right direction. If just only they tick mark a few boxes. So, coming back to Indian cricket, we saw the first T20 and Sanju Samson finally got a chance to play at Wankhede, and it was all about excitement and thing. But again, he failed to capitalize, and again, put more pressure on the board to for the selectors to rope him in back into the squad. But instead, he got out with an injury. So Vedant, I'll start with you. I mean, what is going on absolutely with Sanju Samson right now, and what do you think? What is the board trying to do with him? considering his selection. He was included in the T20 format when the T20 World Cup just got over. He was not included in the ODI format when ODI World Cup is just nearing and round the corner. So what do you have to say on him right now?
Being a Sanju Samson is tough. That's all what we we as a Royal think. But injury are part and parcel of a game. He was pretty unfortunate that he got injured in that game while attempting that catch. I read it in news that he needed 10 days time for rehab, but BCCI has asked him to wait as IPL is also around the corner. But it's pretty unfortunate for him. He was scoring good. He was doing good. He did well in ODI format as a finisher. Too, he played a very vital role in our team. But we already have so many people around at specific position. We have two, three people at a moment who can play in every specific position. So, like, to make that impact in a team is kind of tough, but we know that a good IPL season could knock the doors. He could score 500, 600 runs and also like break the door and enter it. So let's hope that he does well in IPL and then he can be a regular till the World Cup and prove himself, because it is also a fact that we all know his ability. We all know how he can turn the game around. Whether in he plays, he opens the innings or he finishes the innings, he has that ability to take game away from the opposition. The only matter is consistency, giving him the consistent opportunity to perform. That is also a main thing which Indian team is lacking at the moment. But let's hope he can get that regular run, 10, 12 matches in a row to prove himself, and then like we all know that he can definitely be an asset for our team.
Right. So, a good note to start the new year with, which India winning that game very closely and by very close margins in that first T20. And then we lost the second T20 by a very close margin itself. And, Akshar Patel and Surya Kumar did try to drag the team over the line, but it was a bit too far, I guess. And it was a good bowling performance by Sri Lanka to hold off and taking it for a series decider. But coming then, I guess Sri Lanka couldn't hold the nerves for the 30-20, and it was kind of a one-sided game, and India wrapped up that series quite comfortably. Now, speaking about individual performances, going into the ODI was none other than Virat Kohli, the man who was out of form till last season, who was we all waiting for him to notch up his 71st, who's ended up back-to-back ODI hundreds. I mean, what do we have to even say about him? He was absolutely class. I mean, like I don't have words to describe about him. The Rishikesh, Virat Kohli back in form, of course, a very good sign.
Yes, yes, why not? Who won't say yes to that? Yes, really.
So,
New Year has been great because of this, I'll say, for us, for every Indian fans. I guess there might be many fans in Sri Lanka as well, for Virat Kohli, right? Yeah, so
Correct.
yes, back-to-back centuries. Yeah, it is a plus. I hope he continues this form, and it will be interesting. Also, given that the World Cup will be held this year, it's very important that he's scoring these centuries, and I'm sure then, even in the World Cup, there might be a few more centuries.
I have a very good talking point how Rohit Sharma has a good record against Sri Lanka and how he has scored big double hundreds against them. His highest score of 264 was against Sri Lanka way back in 2014, and also a 208, which he had also notched up against them. So coming here, he is, he was slowly and steadily getting those starts, quick 30s, 40s, scored a 50 also, but he's unable to get to that 100. So what exactly is going wrong with him? So Rishikesh, can you just highlight over here, like what exactly Rohit needs to do? Is the captaincy pressure getting on him, or is the confidence of like him, like how Virat's confidence was down for over 3 years? So is that same kind of a demotivation which is going on for Rohit right now?
I don't think so. Like that hasn't been the case, right? He might come back in his form again. There is a rough patch going on, I'll say, but still he's consistently now. Recently, we have seen he has been scoring some runs, so maybe soon we can see 100 from him as well. So that day is not too far, I guess.
So today also we could say, I'll just highlight today's game as he converted a brilliant 50 in a very very low scoring game, but he failed to even he take that team across that line even in a small total. He got out eventually on 51. So he's failing to convert those starts into a big score. So that is the whole idea. I mean, that point of time, where we used to think after Rohit scores a 50, he accelerates his innings and he converts it into a big one. And then, of course, we had seen whenever Rohit scored 100, he converted that into a 150 or a big daddy 100, or we call that two for a 200 score. So, that kind of starts we expect from Rohit, and we know what he is capable of once he gets going. He is unstoppable. So, a good lots of positives to talk about the India Sri Lanka series. So, Dilip, I'll come to you. I mean, similar thing what India had, Sri Lanka too had. They got decent starts. They got good some match. They got a good opening stand. They had a good middle order partnership as well, but they failed to capitalize it. So, what do you think exactly went wrong for the team, or where do you think would have clicked for the team?
I think first of all, the Nissanka was batting brilliantly with Mendes during the recent times, and I think the best format for them, both partners, is the ODI cricket, not the T20, because this Nissanka is a very very good compiler, while Mendes can free his arms. So in Sri Lankan opening partnership should be comes with the Nissanka and Mendes for me. And with the injury of Nissanka, he missed out the last two games. That cost a lot. And also, as I told you earlier, that pressure, the crowd was immensely big in numbers, then that pressure will come into any younger sides. So that is quite obvious. And also, if you notice that, if you can remember 2018 West Indies tour of India, start from the Guwahati. Am I correct? The name Guwahati, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that five-match series ended up in the Kerala, the same ground which we had in Sri Lanka
Correct.
and India. This time also we started from Guwahati and ended in Kerala. So those two matches only ODIs played in those two venues. So international teams might be not so much comfortable in playing a new condition, to be honest. So that might be an impact for them, but I don't think that is an excuse for the last match collapse. And that defeat is heavy, and we can't accept these kind of defeats in modern day cricket, because you have to be prepared and your statistics should be there and you have to analyze. But you know that eventually can be happen in any game of cricket. I know that Sri Lanka been all out in Paarl versus South Africa in 2012, where Sangakkara, Mahela, Dilshan, or Matthews all were there. Okay, and also you know that India been bowled out for 36 in the Test match in Australia. Things will be happen. So, but a game, particular game, or the uh, particular match, that can be happen, but you never excuse for the series defeats like 3-0. So it's a good learning point, and I think they will be having more experience, and incoming the World Cup, they have the condition approach, and they have the format approach, and they know what we should do to revert the errors. So this is a trial and error. So I guess Sri Lanka will gain lots of positives from this series than the negative sounds. And when it comes to India, I must say that Rohit always a responsible character in the lineup during the past. He is the anchor, or as they call him. I mean, from the opening slot. But in coming of Shubman Gill, that's wonderful class player. He has a whole lot of shots all around the ground. And incoming Gill, I think Sharma granted some license to free his arms. That's why I believe Sharma couldn't go for centuries, because The responsible inning will be carried out by the Gill while Sharma trying to score the ball in every instance he get. So that role allocation should be there with the partners. So I think uh, Shubman Gill is the key player. Will be looking everyone looking for in the World Cup as well, other than Virat Kohli and not Rohit Sharma. That's my point of view.
Jihan, we can't hear you.
So yeah. So guys, just can you hear me now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm talking about Sri Lankan cricket only, talking about the Sun Shanaka. So what a sensational player he is. I mean, having such a good average against India, and not only India. I mean, he is adding those finishing touches as a captain, proving himself as to why he is one of the best finishers right now in world cricket. As to the innings which he played against Australia too, which where Sri Lanka had won that famous T20 series in at home, and then again you're single-handedly carrying their team, to at least something to fight for. And he scored a century in a losing cause, and trying to show the world that he is made of something. And so so Rishikesh and Vedant, I'll ask this to both of you all. Do you think Dasun Shanaka deserved an IPL contract basis on how he is playing or how he is saying, because he's getting that sixth bowling option also somewhere, where he comes in, he gets wicket, and he took the wicket of Virat Kohli as well in one of the games, and he comes in and snaps in one or two wickets. So do you think he deserved that IPL contract instead of getting unsold in the auctions?
Definitely. Actually, before this call, we were discussing this with Dilot. Even he was agreeing with that. But the thing is, see, everyone was shocked. At least we were shocked to see someone like Shanaka getting unsold in the auctions. But even though he played very well in the Asia Cup, it's not that after the auctions he was actually playing, but even before the auctions he was in a good form. But there might be some series that might be coming in the way of IPL or something like that. Him being the captain, and so it was, all those factors have also been considered before they go for a player in an auction. So that is the major reason. But I think if there is any injury in any team, I guess everyone will have Dasun Shanaka as their first choice replacement. I guess.
Right. But talking about that game where the final ODI, where India recorded their highest, margin in terms of margin victory, 317 runs. I mean, Dilip, I'll ask you this. I mean, was this team dependent completely on a few players like Kushal Mendes or Dasun Shanaka to accelerate the innings and then get those big time scores at least near the finishing line? But we saw how Dasun Shanaka and Kushal Mendes failing to score runs in that ODI, and that maybe ended up having that mental stability of the team went down, and that maybe caused the crumble. What do you think of that? Was that the score? I mean, creating a mental block, or was it the pressure of just relying upon two or three good players taking or making the big scores?
Yeah, I think pressure was also always there, and I believe that if you watch recent matches, it was not the Shanaka who anchored the inning; it was Mendes and Nisanka. So injury of Nisanka cost the major cost for the last two games what we have defeated, and Asalanka is the guy who can anchor the bat in the middle order. So he has all lots of shots, but if you have the big scoreboard on the in front of you and you are chasing after three quick wickets, and your mindset will be gone somewhere else. So that happens. As I tell you earlier, that happens in particular matches, in instances. But in series, you have to be very responsible and you have to be compile your inning according to the situation. So that's
Right.
what every good cricketer is expected to do. So I think in Sri Lanka, if you watch the previous Asia Cup, uh, it's not a quite individual performance, it's a team effort. If a Banuka scored, Shanaka scored, Salanka scored, Mendes, Nisanka, they all scored. They contributed equally. So this game, the beautifulness of this game is where all have contributed to the approach. So that should be there. That's what the strength of any team. So you can't depend on that particular guy who is scoring 100 every day. So unless he bowled out earlier before low scoring, then you can't expect that Chanak hitting from any day from the lower order batsman. So the anchor role should be played one of the two guys coming from the front, first three batters. So that
Right,
responsibility should be carried out by Nisanka, Mendes, and I believe Nasalanka.
right. So, I mean, very, I will not say a very competitive series, but I would say a lot of positives to take in from Sri Lanka for sure. I mean, the way Shanaka batted, way Nisanka and Kusal Mendes showed intent. There were a lot of expectations from see the bowler Mawadindu Hasaranga. I mean, the way
Yeah.
he's playing one of the best all rounders in the world, and a lot of expectations were him. And he went wicketless in I guess 2 or 3 games, and went quite a lot of runs. So a player from players like him, uh, there are a lot of expectations, and you believe that these kind of players should be performing in big time games. And we have seen how Hasaranga is, and he is the game changer in many games. He can bat down the order as well, try to score those handy quick fire cameos, and take the game away from the opposition. But we didn't really see, and hope he gets that form back. Now, coming to India versus New Zealand series, quite, I would say, not comfortable in the first ODI for sure. It looked comfortable at one stage, but Michael Basewell and Mitchell Santner had other plans for our bowlers for sure. I mean, at 131 for 6 in the first ODI, and to taking a partnership of over 150 for the seventh wicket. I mean, it was simply like mind was completely blown. We didn't know. It looked like at one stage our Indian bowlers were lost, or they had forgotten to take wickets, or there was a dropped catch as well. And so, Vedant, what do you think? I mean, this inconsistency of our bowlers, when we pick up 6 or 7 quick wickets, we are not failing to wrap up the innings quickly. Instead, we are giving these teams opportunity to have these seventh or eighth wicket partnerships which go up to 50 or 60, and which end up, sometimes it ends up hurting our side. As the very latest example was against Bangladesh. If you remember, the last wicket partnership with Mehdi Hassan and Mustafizur Rahman hurt us of around 65 run last wicket partnership. We couldn't get that one wicket. And even against New Zealand, even against Sri Lanka, when the Dasun Shanaka scored that unbeaten 100, we couldn't wrap up the Sri Lankan innings, despite taking very quick wickets up the during the power play in the middle orders. But then at certain point of time, we are not getting that things to end up the innings quickly. So what do you think? I mean, in the first ODI against New Zealand also, we saw how 131 for 6, and people thought below 200 or max to max 220 it would have been, not more, and we just won by a mere 12 runs. So what do you think is the solution for that?
Uh, Maybe, like as you said, we are getting like it is tough for our bowlers to get tailenders wicket. It mainly made because of the mindset which they should be going through at that moment. At that moment, they must be thinking of taking the wicket of a tailender rather than the batsman. So they maybe are not able to take the wickets which is necessary. And also like the way like they bowl initially, the confidence is sky high, and by the innings progresses, they think of a leniency, and then when the tailenders come to bat, they rather think of taking wicket of a tailender rather than the batsman. We saw the same thing against Mehdi. They were trying to take Mustafiz's wicket rather than taking Mehdi's wicket. Same with Dasun Shanaka, and now we saw with Peswell too. If we focus mainly on getting batsman out rather than the position, we could definitely get those end wickets pretty quickly.
Right. So, that live example was shown today. I mean, where Rohit Sharma took nearly 15 seconds to decide whether to bat or bowl. They'd literally forgotten what to do. And it was a good toss to win. And on a good brand new stadium, I mean, we have played our first ever international game at Raipur today. And it ended up on a very bright note where India thrashed New Zealand by 8 wickets. I mean, in a very low scoring match. And if you notice, Vedant, today also, New Zealand were 15 for 5, and from that stage they carried that. Again, they had a small little partnership in between for the sixth wicket where it was around 52 or 53 runs. So that kind of momentum, we try to let these batters come in back into the game, but of course they were wrapped up by 108. And so, talking about Mohammad Siraj, I mean, what can we speak about him? I mean, a player who we in fact, you, me, everyone had cursed at one point of time as to what is he doing in the team. Or we saw him getting smacked for RCB by so many runs. Like, he used to go for 12 and 13 and over and games, and we were doubting his form as to why he was being backed. But the way he has come up is brilliant. So, Rishikesh, what do you exactly think? I mean, about Mohammad Siraj here?
He is a great bowler actually, mostly in the tests and yes, even in the ODIs. But I'll still say like he's only good for ODIs and tests, but not for the T20. So yeah, also he has made a great comeback in the series, and I guess he'll be in one of those bowlers who might play for us in the World Cup. So like himself and Jasprit Bumrah and maybe Shamil. These three can be the base bowling attack for us.
But again, Jasprit Bumrah's fitness issues are raising big question marks over here because, considering IPL coming, a big Border Gavaskar trophy coming in, and we have been known that Jasprit Bumrah would mostly miss the first two tests as of now, is it's said. But looking at his current fitness, it's very unsure that he would be making it for the third or fourth as well. But again, IPL also coming in, we don't know whether he will play for those 14 games or whether he will play the 50% of games. So it's raising big question marks. And if he is injured over here, we will need to fill in his place. So we will need that kind of a backup for him. What do you think?
Actually, Arshdeep Singh should have been used in these two series. Actually, even we had we already had won the series against Sri Lanka. So in that third match, we could have tried him, but we didn't try him. So I guess Arshdeep did very well in T20, excluding the second T20 against Sri Lanka, where he actually bowled too many no balls. Apart from that, he is a really great bowler in the death. So we must have tried him in the ODIs too, I guess.
But I think Umran Malik is a good option with the extra pace. Nowadays, you know that Ferguson from New Zealand, Lahir Kumar from Sri Lanka, and then Mark Wood from England, they've been, and Nokia from the South Africa, they've been clicking 150 mark quite often. So that when you provide a flat track, you need to have a genuine pace bowler to take crucial wickets at crucial times. So Umran Malik would be a good option. We have seen that in Sri Lankan series also. He has been the main threat after, apart from the Siraj. He has been the wicket crucial wicket taker during the series, even in the T20s. You are not audible, John. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
can hear.
So I'm saying, the in talking about Indian cricket here, we already have a lot of players waiting in line, be it at any position right now, be it a batsman, all rounder, or a bowler, or any fast bowler, spinner, anyone. We have a lot of people who are waiting back in line. We have seen what is happening with the wicket keepers in the current situation, when the team view Ishan Kishan after scoring a double hundred against Bangladesh getting dropped immediately in against Sri Lanka. So it raises it surely it's kind of a demotivation as well. And but you can't really do anything because, as I said, there are a lot of players waiting in line. So again, you're talking about Jasprit Bumrah, Ravindra Jadeja. I mean, obviously world class players, but over here when you get these players like Akshar Patel, Mohammad Siraj, and Kuldeep Yadav right now, who's just got back into the team, they are giving dominant performances consistently. So at what grounds would we drop them and take those players which are just back from injury just because of their experience? So why, what do you think? Like, we like in the Indian cricket just stick to the players who are in form, or just get back that experience?
I think India, we are going to a world tournaments. The experience matters always. We have seen in
Hmm.
the last T20 World Cup. We have seen in Australia.
Right.
So experienced people, experienced guys should be in the line, but subject to the fitness. Fitness is the
Right.
key. Unless you invest so much on the players and middle of the tournament they got injured, you are helpless.
Right. Rishikesh, I would like to ask you this. Border Gavaskar Trophy is round the corner, and we have already wrapped up the series against New Zealand. So there were Ravi Shastri had recently quoted saying big players like Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma should not play the final ODI or the T20 series as well, and give chance to youngsters and play the Ranji Trophy to just get a hand of the red ball cricket in on Indian soil, as it has been a very long time since we had Indian Test on our soil. And Australia, a very big series coming up, the World Test Championship final up for grabs, and it's a must-win series for us. So, what do you think? I mean, should they continue playing the white ball format and just maintain that form, or should you think they need that Ranji Trophy touch to get used to that red ball cricket?
Honestly, actually, it is a good idea to go back and play a few Ranji games. That might help because when is the last time we saw Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma play Ranji? So it will be a great way to promote our domestic cricket too. If such big players are playing, definitely people will come to watch the match, and that's a different thing. But yes, I guess they should rush for the remaining ODI and maybe give a chance to maybe a Rajat Patidar or a new player who can come in, and maybe they can get some rest and be ready, fresh and ready for the game against Australia.
Right, right. Vedant, I'll ask you a very diplomat. I mean, a very tricky question now. I mean, we have seen our, super oil. We have not don't think it as from a super oil perspective, but Yuzi is not what he is since the IPL has got over. What how consistent he was in IPL, got the purple cap as well. But since then, we have seen a very different part of Yuzi. I mean, he's not getting those wickets consistently, going for a lot of runs. But on the other hand, we are seeing Kuldeep Yadav back into the team, and Kuldeep Yadav getting the chances, and he is utilizing the chances well. So, do you see either UZ play for the team, or Kuldeep Yadav sticking back, or do you see at any point Kulcha getting back together in the 11?
I would definitely prefer Kulcha being back in the 11 because back in 2019 we all saw how effective they were. And knowing that the World Cup is on Indian soil, we will definitely go with three spinners with Jadeja or Akshar Patel being an all-rounder. So, like playing Kulcha would be like icing on the top for our team. And also, we know that they complement each other better. They all together in a partnership, which would definitely create pressure on opposition. Chahal hasn't been at his best in the recent times. That is also because most of the matches he played was away from home, like in Australia. So maybe he would be back. IPL is around the corner. He's a purple cap holder. He could like spin the magic again this season for us and maybe get back to the form, the the way he was in the last season. And even Kuldeep, he performed really well in IPL last season for Delhi. So like it would be a very important IPL for Indian players as the World Cup will be later in the year. So yeah, I will definitely prefer Kuldeep and Chahal playing together in the World Cup.
Right, definitely. I mean, now shifting from international, I mean, if you're going in the right direction, we'll go shift our focus to the new T20 league, which has started in South Africa, SA20, and talking about our franchise Paarl Royals. I mean, a 50-50 season so far for them. I mean, it was again an unfortunate and a close loss today against Mumbai Indian Cape Town. And again, we failed to capitalize and get that over the line. So, Rishikesh and Vedant, we are Royals and we know what kind of games we usually, play and what kind of games have the strong points and the weak points. We know what kind of thing. So, I have, as per my point of view, I have noticed that Paarl Royals are similar to RR in terms of that winning rate and converting those chances into a win. So we are not doing that. I mean, even RR and the mid season when IPL was there in 2013, 14 or 15, that time we used to see RR getting that starts 60 for no loss or 70 for no loss, but failed to convert it and made win games when because a wicket used to go down and the entire team used to crumble. There was no middle order support. As we are seeing similar situation for Pal as well, Joss getting that start for us, but unfortunately they are failing to capitalize because there is no stability. So, and of course, for even in the bowling department, if you see Lungi and Gedi and Fortune, the player, a South African left arm spinner, are trying their best to grab wickets, but again they are not getting that support from the other end. So, what exactly do you all think is going wrong for our team right now?
See, from the bowling point of view, I guess they are doing pretty well, and also, yeah, even the we are getting good starts, but as you said, the similar situation is coming. Like in the middle order, we are not unable to click some runs. So I guess someone like Butler has to stay till the end as he used to do before. Maybe a century from him can bring in a lot of confidence. As we all know, Butler's form can be crucial. And if he's in a good form, the other players will automatically come in a good form. They'll get motivated. So I guess this can be the only thing which can be done. Butler can hit 100 and maybe we can be back. I guess Vedant can answer better about Fortuin actually.
If he is there,
I guess I guess we lost him.
I guess he has the network
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was eager to talk about him actually.
Yes, bro. I'm here. Fortune, like about him, I actually watched some videos before the auction. He played for South Africa in Pakistan series, which they sent their B side, which Andy Klaasen was leading, and he played there. He performed really well. Like he bowled in the power play. Scored some handy runs down the order. So that was some eye-catching stuff. Like that was the thing which Jadeja do for us in Indian team. So that was the point when I noticed that this guy would be a great pick for us. And like many people wouldn't have gone for him. Many franchises wouldn't have gone for him. So that was the main reason for my side to tell you all about him. So yeah, he also proved it right in this season throughout. Picking 2 3 wickets in the same over isn't easy. So he did
Leading
it.
wicket taker as well.
He did it in regular basis. So yeah, he's an asset for us, right?
So
And would I would
it's kind of a similar season what we are having, what we had in IPL for RR. Where Joss was the leading run scorer and Yuzi was our leading wicket taker, and similarly, Joss is just 4 runs behind the leading run scorer in SA20, behind Will Jacks, and Fortune is our leading wicket taker with 11 wickets. So, kind of a similar season, but again, we are not like getting this over the line. And I mean, even in the previous match against the Sunrisers, we had a very low score of 120 odd runs. So, yeah, so, I mean, it's very disappointing to see, consistent. Like today also in today's match, Josh Butler scored 68 and rest they were single digit scores of 1, 4, 8, 6, and Josh Butler was named the man of the match in a losing cause. So again, this raises a lot of questions. Like similar stuff happened in RR as well in during the 2018 when we came back, when Josh Butler came into our side and he was the only guy who was consistently scoring runs. At rest we had absolute no support from the middle order. So fingers crossed. I mean, we need a much win tomorrow. must win tomorrow for sure, and with a bonus point to stay in contention for the semi-final spot. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, it was a good session, a great session with you all, and not much to interact in the comment section today. But guys, whoever over there, thanks a lot for joining in, and you just please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, whoever were new to the stream, and we'll be back with another episode next week. So yeah, till then, take care, and thanks a lot, Dulit, for joining in and sharing your inputs. It was lovely to have you, and we would again like to come again on the stream and share your inputs with us.
Thank you,
So yeah,
Jahan.
guys,
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Super Royals. Willing to contribute in future as well. Have a good day.
thank
Yes,
you.
you too.